One chance out between two worlds. Fire.
Walk with me.
It has been 18 years since the release of David Lynch's last feature film to date, Inland Empire.
The thing is, I don't know what was before or after.
Despite Inland's fragmented and perplexing narrative, at the film's core is an exploration of something rather simple.
You've described it as a film about a woman in trouble.
A woman in trouble, yeah.
Troubled women are a staple across Lynch's entire oeuvre. It's a fascination that began with Dorothy in and has since resulted in some of cinema's greatest female protagonists, such as Diane in
Mulholland Drive.
and whom I believe to be Lynch's quintessential woman in trouble, Laura Palmer.
Why did you decide to make a prequel to Twin Peaks?
Because I sort of fell in love with the idea of seeing Laura Palmer walking and talking, and I loved the idea of visiting her in her last days.
Opening with the smashing of a TV screen, Fire Walk With Me marks a vast departure in tone from that of the original series. It's a creative decision that drew huge controversy from critics and fans alike when the film was initially released back in 1992.
Fire Walk With Me wasn't well received by most of the Twin Peaks fans because it didn't have, they said, the same humor or, lightheartedness as the series. And I can understand that, but it was Laura Palmer's life, and that wasn't a pleasant life, a lot of it.
Played to operatic perfection by Cheryl Lee, Laura is the well-loved homecoming queen of Twin Peaks. But beyond her radiant exterior lies an untamable darkness.
But mainly it was Laura Palmer. To me, she's such a dream.
Or a nightmare, in fact.
Well, or a nightmare. Someone said in a paper, a beautiful nightmare. I think that's a nice way to put it.
Since the age of 12, Laura has been subjected to abuse at the hands of Bob.
He's been having me since I was 12.
Laura's secret diary openly details her thoughts and feelings for several years, starting from her 12th birthday all the way up until the events of Fire Walk With Me. Laura blames herself for the abuse she suffers, that it must be punishment for the wrongs she has committed. She writes about how incredibly confused she is, and how ashamed she is of her abnormal thoughts that she doesn't want to disclose to anyone else. She contends with her morality, and is seen in the film who or what Bob is. Bob ultimately serves as a figure of disassociation for both Laura and Leland. A nightmare that conceals an even more harrowing reality.
Is this future? Is this past?
Is it future, or is it past? A phrase that not only permeates Twin Peaks, but also victims of abuse. When did the abuse start? When will it end? Within the mind, it exists always in time. Leland is far from just a monstrous perpetrator, he is also tragically a victim.
When I was a little boy, my grandfather had a summer home up on Pearl Lakes. We used to go there every year.
Leland's grandfather, under the control of Bob, abused Leland before possessing him. Within Leland, he lay dormant until the birth of Laura, whom he saw as a suitable candidate for his next host. Bob first appeared in Twin Peaks by way of a reflection. And mirrors are also an important motif found within Fire Walk With Me. Before heading to Laura's room, Leland passes Sarah a glass while facing the mirror. But when Leland's back is turned away from the mirror, he weeps. He loves Laura more than anything, and would never wish to cause her any pain.
I love you so much.
Reeling from transgenerational trauma, his actions are not from choice, but rather a compulsion. It's a truly heartbreaking thing to witness. A household that should by all accounts be happy has instead been ravaged by generations of abuse. What should be the American dream is instead the American nightmare.
It was an incredibly lonely role to play. One of Laura's big things is her loneliness, and that is what I will always remember about her the most. And that's the emotion that I felt the most while playing the role. I don't think a day went by that I didn't feel an incredible loneliness, and that was at times very hard to deal with.
Because of Laura's experiences with Bob, she is unable to trust or confide in anyone else. Her mother Sarah, for example, sees Laura as her little girl, someone of innocence and purity.
You will never be a smoker if you don't start.
Laura, as a loving daughter, does not want to change this perception or place any additional burden on her mother, so she selflessly conceals the truth in order to protect her.
What would you say is the most interesting thing that we learn about Laura Palmer in the movie? It's the most unusual thing that kind of stood out in your mind.
I think it's that she is so different with each person that she's with.
In order to protect herself, Laura creates a hard exterior, a shell shielding her from a world of darkness. She loves James, but the Laura she once was is gone.
I'm gone. Long gone. Like a turkey in the corn.
Bobby loves Laura, so she constantly mocks and antagonises him in an attempt to create distance between them. The only reason Laura keeps Bobby around is to satisfy her habit.
I'm standing right behind you, but you're too dumb to turn around.
Even around her best friend Donna, Laura is unable to be her true self. She hides her wild side in fear of judgment, given Donna's far more uptight and reserved personality.
Why are you suddenly so interested in who I'm going to see at night?
The only place Laura is able to truly express herself is within the pages of her diary. The Laura she tries so desperately hard to protect from the outside world lies in these pages, but even this safe space is violated, as pages have been torn out and are missing. Bob's cruelty and torment know no limits.
He says he wants to be me or he'll kill me.
By penetrating Laura's thoughts and stripping her identity away, he creates a perfect vessel for possession. But Laura resists Bob, as she is determined to stop him and unmask the truth.
When this kind of fire starts, it is very hard to put out.
The closer Laura comes to the truth, however, the more of a toll it takes on her. In order to numb her pain, she relies more and more on substance. She would rather destroy herself than allow Bob to hurt her anymore.
Where are you going? Nowhere fast.
To sustain her habit, Laura needs cash, but she also seeks connection. In a world of blue, the desire to feel needed, wanted, and as though she is special is immense, resulting in Laura becoming increasingly promiscuous. As the fire within Laura rages on, Donna, whom she initially tried so hard to keep separate from her double life, drops herself in the thick of it. Before Donna's purity is engulfed completely, Laura intervenes. She does not wish for others to share her reality.
I don't want you to be like me.
When you seek the truth, you never know what you might find, and tragically for Laura, her greatest fear is realised. The source of all of her suffering, the person responsible for all the abuse, is her own father. The fire within Laura burns out, and all that remains is a hollow shell.
Your Laura disappeared.
Laura pushes her true love James away, the one person she believed could pull her from this darkness, and heads towards complete oblivion. The ring Teresa wore, the ring Laura dreamt of, is thrown into the carriage by Mike. Cooper, who wants Laura to live, who does everything he can to save her, pleads,
"Don't take the ring, Laura."
But in order to live, Laura would have to allow Bob in. She would have to continue the cycle of abuse, inflicting further pain and sorrow. In contrast to her father, Leland, who succumbed to Bob, Laura chooses to defy him and sacrifice herself for the greater good. An inevitable fate brought to life by the incredible Cheryl Lee. The fear, the anguish, the sadness, and the absolute horror that she manages to capture in her performance is incredibly hard to witness. But as far as acting goes, what a staggering achievement. I truly believe it's one of the greatest performances of all time. A performance so defining that it hurt Cheryl Lee's career moving forward. I think it's a real shame, with the range and talent on display here, that she hasn't been more widely utilised outside of Twin Peaks.
It was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. It's living a lifetime in just 2 short months. It was an emotional roller coaster ride. There were days when I didn't think I didn't know how I was going to go another minute or another day. We really run the gamut in this of what she goes through. And thank God for David, because he's so brilliant that he gets you through and he helps you find it.
Is it future or is it past? As Fire Walk With Me draws to its conclusion, everything has come full circle. Laura is now gone, but her spirit lives on in the lodge because of the ring. The angel that tragically eluded Laura in life appears, and for the first time, we see Laura truly smile. After everything she has been through, she is finally free and at peace. Cooper, who had never met Laura in life, rests his hands on her shoulder and stands by her side. Laura, it's over now.
The angels will return, and when you see the one that's meant to help you, you will weep with joy.
It's an ending that will be forever etched in my brain, made all the more poignant by Angelo Badalamenti's score. Angelo's score for Fire Walk With Me is arguably his best work, and the track titled The Voice of Love is so beautiful, yet so sad. A song that captures the essence of Laura Palmer so perfectly, without a single word uttered. What a genius he was. May Angelo, like Laura, rest in peace.
The film, I think, is being more accepted now, and as you know, something people appreciate, but you know, that and $5 will get you a cup of coffee.
Unfairly lambasted upon release, Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me is thankfully now recognised as one of Lynch's major works, and one of the greatest films of the 1990s. I think it's a real shame that critics and even fellow filmmakers like Tarantino reacted the way they did to the film. When dealing with subject matter such as this, it would not have been right to confine Laura's story to references and whispers, as we saw within the TV series.
Because so many things were guessed at and felt and talked about, there were so many mysteries, and I felt it was almost a way to talk about the future of the thing by going into the past.
Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me is, from a social perspective, David Lynch's most significant film. By portraying Laura's story in such an authentic way, the film, like a lot of great art, raises many questions. As a society, we need to do more to protect individuals like Laura Palmer. No one should be subjected to the horror she was in our world, and yet they are every single day. It's a problem that shows no signs of improving, and if anything, it's actually getting worse. Laura sacrificed herself in the hope that no one else would have to suffer, that the abuse would come to an end. However improbable that reality is, I really hope we can find our way there, that the angels will one day return.
There's some things that are going on these days that we're attacking films for violence and not doing a whole lot in the world for violence. And film is a safe place to have experiences. Violence exists, it has a major part in a lot of fantastic stories. If it was championing violence, it would be one thing, and I don't think this film is. So I believe in very strong films, and I don't apologize to them one bit, as long as there's a balance, you know, to the thing.